Hello there. How are you today? I hope you're having a good day. I am. Let's talk about something that's been on my mind, something that we all tend to struggle with, even unconsciously. Let's talk about perfectionism. I want to mention about 4 quotes. I'm sure you've heard them all. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until good is better and better is best. What about, if you can't do it right, don't do it? Or a place for everything and everything in its place. Or how about, if it's worth doing right. Did you hear these things when you were growing up? I did. I heard them all the time. They all send the same message though, and that message is be perfect. Being perfect is an example of trying to live out the word should, which should, as we talked about earlier, is a statement of judgment. The thing about it is, being perfect is subjective because it's based on either ours or someone else's standards. What is perfectionist? Sometimes we kind of want to know that. What is perfectionist? Let's talk about a person that struggles with perfectionism. A perfectionist is a person who believes there is only one way to do a thing, which is their way. There is a right way to dress as far as they're concerned. There's a right way to talk. Even simple things like there's a right way to go to bed or a right way to do dishes. And the list goes on. There's a right way to be. That's the same thing as saying you should. And that in itself would cause anyone stress. The judge compares everything. The judge compares every thought, every word. That judge is there to place judgment. It judges everything according to a standard of perfection, which is something that is difficult for a human being to accomplish. If 2 people do something differently, yet they're doing the same thing, the judge of the perfectionist quickly decides who's right and who's wrong. Instead of measuring success by what has been done, the judge notices what hasn't been done. I call them a pessimist. And because I always say when I talk to other people, I say, when you look at a situation, regardless to how positive or negative it may seem, try to come from the bright side of the situation because that's where your creative side is. And so if you come from the bright side, in most cases, you may not even reach the dark side. But if you come from the dark side, it is so blinding until usually you won't be able to reach the bright side where your creativity lies in any situation. Perfectionism, or you should, it causes stress. Trying to be perfect creates stress, and I can't say that enough. Why? Because human beings are not perfect based on the standards we have created for ourselves. Doing a job perfectly is not the same as being perfect, but we get those things confused. But if we would take perfect or perfectionism out of it, then we'll be able to see things differently. We can change our perspective. An excellent job is not the same as a perfect job, but many times an excellent job is what is needed in most situations. An excellent job can come from an imperfect person. So if we could look at an excellent job as an excellent job and not a perfect job, then we can take the stress off of the imperfect person. It is wiser to strive for excellence than to strive for perfection. Perfection is too time consuming, it's impossible and stressful. It's just an impossible task. A perfectionist will find it hard to have excellence be enough. Let excellence stand alone. They also find it hard to accept that there isn't always a perfect solution, and there are more than one way to do something. There is more than one way to do something. Thus, it renders them unable to make solid decisions, because instead of them seeing an excellent decision as an excellent decision, they are trying to make a perfect decision. There are no real positive benefits to trying to be perfect. The fact is, there's only rare moments when everything comes together right, or as we say, everything falls in place. There are rare moments when that happens. That's why you have to come from the bright side where creativity is. Yet a perfectionist feels, if I did it once, I can do it again. And that's not necessarily so. Comparing perfection, which will differ based on the perspective of others, becomes a vicious cycle. Get off the merry-go-round. How about just simply doing an excellent job and not trying to do everything perfect? An excellent job is something that can be accomplished. Let's strive for that. Let's release the stress off of ourselves, accept our imperfect areas, and still understand that we can bring an excellent job forth from this imperfect person. We'll talk about this more later. We're going to stay on this for a couple weeks. Until then, continue to do an excellent job as you always have. And forget about trying to do a perfect job. You're good the way you are. Let's talk later. Have a great day.